Welcome to Triangle BNI. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. We talk all the time, folks, about how to get to your current clients, more importantly, your future clients. We need some digital marketing experts. The folks at Oak City Tech certainly are that, whether it's posting on social media, a website to drive people to learn more about your business. Drago and his team can help you with that. So just go to Oak City Tech. Tell them what you're looking for, and I know they'll be able to help you. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Manning. Each week on Triangle BNI, we bring you a local small business success story. If you are not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. Our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle is Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill and the surrounding towns. And each week, about 31 chapters, around 520-ish or so members get together. And our goal is to help each other grow our business. And our local small business success story this week will be joining us shortly. You don't see him right now. He is John Moore with Southeastern Benefits. He does employee benefits for small businesses, and we're going to talk about that. He is joining us on about 24 hours of notice. He was nice enough to agree to do that. He's finishing up a meeting now. He'll be popping on at any minute. And one of the things we're going to talk about is hiring. And if you are an employer, you want to find the people that would be best for your company, and you're going to have to entice them because enough companies are looking to hire people. You're kind of in a bidding war. And one of the things you can do to offer that applicant are some sort of benefits, which John will go into. We'll talk about that. And it's also good for retention. And if you're on the other side, if you are an employee looking for a job, when you go to a company, one of the questions you can ask them is what other benefits come with this job? And if you needed something specific, I'm a huge fan of just ask. All they can do is say no. But if they really like you and they can help you, they'll do that. So John's going to join us in a couple of minutes. He's finishing up in a meeting. He's with the Wilmington chapter, Tropical Storm. They meet Thursday mornings at 8 a.m. at the Angus Grill near downtown Wilmington. So if you're ever down there and want to be part of a fun meeting, we've had a couple folks from his chapter on the show, Brad Caldwell and Diana Watkins, and they're a lot of fun, but they know a lot of good stuff, and they're just slightly above entertaining. So we'll enjoy that in just a minute. So it got me to thinking while we're waiting on John what to talk about, and we're getting, where are we, October, what are we, the 11th now, Amnon, I think? The 10th, October 10th. So we know Halloween's coming, we know Thanksgiving's coming, and we know Christmas is coming. So what are we planning for? Kids are already back in school, so we're already thinking, what are our holiday plans? And some of us have made those. Becky and I have. We're going to Dallas to see her folks on her side of the family. And more importantly, both of our grandkids who will be up here this weekend if all goes well. So can't wait for that. So what are you planning from a personal standpoint with any holidays, people coming to visit, you going to visit them? Doesn't matter. I myself am trying to lose some weight before Christmas. Had a good week so far. Just got to push back on junk. And I found if I don't have it in the house, I don't eat it. So that's my best weight loss program is just don't bring it in the house. Sweet tea's another story, but we all have our vices. So what are your goals for the rest of 2022? You have business and personal. Can you put 2 down on paper? Could you put 3? One of the things Becky and I did this past weekend was got some shelving for our garage. I think we're the only people that have a really nasty, cluttery garage. I don't believe anybody else has ever done that. And Becky and I have been talking about this for, when I say months, I'm being generous. And she did the smart thing. She went online and bought the shelving that we put up in the garage. So once you spend the money, that triggers everything. Before then, it's just talking, planning. Yeah, that's a good idea. We need to get to that. But she went and bought it, says, all right, I paid the money. We got to go get it now. So we rented a U-Haul, went down to Sam's, bought it, brought it back, and put it up. It was easy to put up and got a lot of boxes up for her holiday stuff so we could separate Halloween, decorations and Thanksgiving decorations and Christmas decorations, which made perfect sense. But in a garage where you don't know what's in what, it's kind of hard to do. So that led me to think about what other goals do we have for the house? And we've got, I don't think we have anybody coming Thanksgiving. If they are, it'll be a late decision and we're leaving town for Christmas. So we don't have to go all out on the house. The house is fine. It's just the two of us, so we don't get too messed up anyways. But the garage. So do you have garage goals? Do you have back patio goals? You got any goals there, Amnon,
No,
for it? No, you don't even want to talk about it, right? No goals for the
I
house?
mean,
You have a honey-do list. I know you do.
I keep wanting to clean the garage. I mean, don't even start me on this.
Yes, because my goal is to get Becky's car in the garage for the winter time. So when she comes home at night, because I work out of the house, she works outside the house. And so when she comes home, I'd like to be able to pull in the garage
Mhm.
and park, whether it's cold or three times we get snow or it's raining or whatever. So, but trying to do that. So that got me to thinking some other things we're trying to do, and uh, we need to aerate our lawn so we can put stuff down to kill the weeds, get the winter, stuff like that. But those aerating things, I don't have anything to go pick it up at Home Depot and they're heavy. And I thought, well, Oliver and I can just get out there one day and just poke holes in the grass. It's not random, so I'm sure it won't work. That's a home remedy, right? It's just one of those things. Hey, it's a good idea. Like for ladies, I'm going to tell you, there's a guy thing that we say after it didn't go well. We say, "Well, it's a good idea at the time, honey." I thought it would work. I really did. I don't know why it didn't, right? Because I was involved. It was my thought. And the application was horrible. Other than that, solid plan, right? So I'm trying to figure out how to do that and get the lawn going. But so just your goal can be whatever. Again, mine's weight loss, and we're trying to get the house in shape and just go through. I think the rule is if you move twice and you haven't opened a box, should you keep the box? And how many boxes in your garage you don't know exactly what's in it, even though it's labeled fall or kids or family room or whatever it is, because we have boxes in there as well.
Yeah,
Anyways,
if you moved and put the kids in there and
yeah,
forgot about them,
yeah. While we're talking, I'm gonna check my phone, make sure John didn't try to email me or call me because I know he's coming. I know he's coming anyway, so that's pretty
yeah.
good. So anyways, what goals do you have? We've got So let me back up. Let me back up. So at the U-Haul place, and this is over off Buck Jones Road, teeny tiny U-Haul place. The guy there was wonderful. His son, about 17 years old, solid worker, helped me out with everything. Just it was a good experience there. Anyways, we took the truck back Saturday at halftime of my Tennessee football game against LSU. Go Vols. We're 5-0, number 6 in the country, but that's another podcast, as they say. And so I'm going inside to return the U-Haul, and there's a lady out front. She's got a food truck, and she's selling fresh tamales. Ooh, yes. And my wife is a Texan, and so she loves that stuff. And we bought it. So I just said, "Hey, can we get a dozen?" And these tamales were huge. I mean, and good too. So we went through that. Some of those Saturday nights, some of those yesterday, and I think we'll finish them tonight. But you never know what you're going to find. So we enjoyed that a whole lot as we were. So good things come with doing some work of things you should have done a while ago. We ran into this lady. She said she's there every Friday and Saturday at the U-Haul place, and so we're good to go. But yeah, good food. So then we got to thinking about the upstairs in the house and then the attic. And of course, I said, well, why don't we move some of the stuff from the garage to the attic? And Becky says, I don't want anything up in the attic. I want it in the garage where I can see it. Plus, it forces us to go through the boxes. And so we're doing good when you look in the garage on the left hand side, it's got the shelving, and we set up room to buy another set of shelves, which will make it even better. And then on the right hand side is all the yard stuff with the weed eater,
Yard stuff.
all that stuff, right? We've got shelving unit over there, and I've got some stuff from when I was doing pest control and the commercial cleaning stuff. I still have supplies left, which is good. And so we got all that. We need to straighten that out. And then right in the middle of the garage is that's the stuff where it's like, that could probably be thrown out. Some of it could. So on Saturday with the U-Haul, we had an elliptical bike that we didn't know what to do with, and we thought about trying to sell it. Just we're not wired to do that. And so we took that and an old dryer, took it up to the uh, Wake County recycling place up in Apex. Wonderful. Just backed up the U-Haul, slid those out, and the guy goes, leave them there. Our forklift will come and pick it up. So I thought, you know what? So we got two things out of the garage. And so I took those up there while Becky was in the garage. And when I got home, I walked in the garage, like, that made a huge difference. I mean, it's an elliptical bike. It's not big, but, it's an okay size. And then the dryer up against the wall, if you don't know you're looking for, you probably wouldn't see it, but you kind of look at it and go, hey, we're making progress. And progress is a wonderful thing. We enjoyed that very much. But Becky and I don't know how you are with your spouse or your partner or whoever, but when you're trying to decide where everything goes and where the shelving unit should be, and more importantly, so we bought these, everything was built. You just had to pop them in and, tap them down with a mallet, right? So it was easy. It was two sides, four cross beams in the back and three in the front for the shelves, and then four shelves. So it was not difficult. Even I could have done that by myself, and I have very limited skills on all that. And Becky's mind is way, way ahead of mine. And she has her way of doing it. And I laugh that I don't want to do it the right way. I want to do it Becky's way, because that way I can't get in trouble if I do it the way
That's
she
it.
tells me, right? And so we got it set up, and we're talking about how much space between the shelves, and I'm learning. I mean, we're 36 years into being married, 37 and a half being together, and I'm learning when just to shut up. And so I did good. I threw out a couple things, and her mind wasn't there yet because, she starts at ground zero and I started, ooh, that'd be good right there. And there's like six things you have to do before you say, hey, that'd look good right there. And so I shut up, and she was talking and measuring and thinking. And I saw my one chance to insert a good thought. And I said, if we moved it, because it was 77 inches long. And I said, if we moved it more towards the back wall, we could get a second shelving unit in and stack even more stuff. And she stopped and thought about it. And the proud look I had on my face. And she goes, oh, okay, I like that. And I'm like, my work here is complete.
Okay, bye.
No, I'm sure I said some other stupid things afterwards that gave all my husband points back. But yeah, I was very pleased. So,
Nice.
all right. So we've got John popping in here. Good morning, John. How are you?
Doing good. Good morning. How are you?
Good. We are live and ready to go. This is John Moore with Southeastern Benefits. John is in Tropical Storm chapter in Wilmington that meets at Angus Grill Thursday mornings at 8 a.m. John, I've been telling the folks, we had Diana on, we had Brad on, that if they really want to be entertained Thursday mornings at 8 a.m., and it's free. I mean, nothing better than that, right? You even have water there, and I think coffee if they want it. So it's a wonderful thing. You are a benefits specialist. So we're going to get into that in a second. But how does one become a benefits specialist?
Good question. You have to get roped into it by someone else eventually,
Yes.
I think.
I figured.
No, I don't think anybody raises their hand in college and says, I want to do that. But I've been doing it for about 15 years now and have come to specialize in groups over the last probably 12 or maybe even 15 of those. And we just look at each business differently because they all are different. They all have different needs. So we'll look at what they need and see if we have something that we can do to help them.
BNI has taught me many things over the years, especially in industries I don't know much of. And I don't, benefits, I know health insurance, life insurance, and that's kind of about what most of us know. But looking at the market here over the last 6 or 8 months, the employee market, which is just stupid crazy. I've learned getting to know folks like you and a couple other people up here as I've started asking more questions is it really is a recruiting tool for an employer because there's so many jobs out there right now that you or me we could apply for 50 jobs out there if we wanted to. But are some of the employers you're working with realizing that this is kind of be a deal maker for them with the right employee?
Absolutely, because I mean, every employer pays their
Mhm.
employee in some way. They have to do something else to be more competitive and make themselves more attractive, and to new employees, to new hires, to attract people and to hold on to the good people that they have already, so they won't go down the street and do the same thing
Mhm.
somewhere else.
I know back in the day, I think, John, I'm like an hour and a half older than you, but I mean, ever so slightly. So things are just a tick different. Back in the day, it was Mike, here's your job. You're lucky to have it. Here's what you get with it. You start tomorrow. We're like, okay,
Yep.
but now that's not the case, which is good that employees can ask a bunch of questions. But what are the things some of the employees you've been talking to are looking for when they are applying for a new job?
Employees seem to have all the power nowadays,
Mm.
especially in specific types of industries. So if you're hiring someone and I'm trying to hire the same person, they're going to ask you what kind of health insurance you have. Not do you have it, but what kind is it and how much is it going to cost me?
Oh,
And they want to know those numbers before they accept the position. So they want to know that. They want to know if they have dental. They want to know if they have a retirement plan, disability, things like that. And if the employer is not able to offer those things in addition to the salaries, they're probably going to be out of luck.
have some employers not offered it before because they never have or never had to and just really haven't thought about it much?
Yeah, I have a lot of new uh, accounts that will contact me and say, "Hey, look, we really want to attract these people, and we can't get them.
Mm.
Can you help us?" You know, they do have to spend money on it. It's not free, but it does save them thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, maybe much more than that in the long run, because they're not constantly rehiring people who are dissatisfied with their benefits and their job overall.
Yeah, and that's the thing we don't factor in when those of us who have hired before, and I'm sure you have too, we don't really research how much time and money we put into rehiring a position, and it really is, if you're not paying attention, it can go deep, deep into your pocket.
Yeah, even if we're just talking about, sort of bottom level ish
Mhm.
employees, that's still a big expense if they're there for 2 weeks, 3 months, or even 6 months, and then you got to start all
Yeah,
over again.
yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, because you gotta post the ad. Well, you gotta figure out the job description, you gotta post the ad, then you have to interview, talk about that with other people, then you bring him in for the final round of interviews. "Okay, we're gonna pick John, we really like him, you agree, you come on board. Now we gotta train you," and a lot of times the training's horrible. Like, "Here, John, here's the employee handbook, call us if you have any questions," but we'll talk about that on another day. I mean, we're talking 50, 80, 200, 300 man hours.
Yeah, it's a lot of time, and time is money.
And yeah, and then if you put so yeah, anyways, I'm amazed at um the the little things that are now available for folks to hire somebody. So if an employee so for the folks that are watching and listening, if somebody has applied for a job that they really want, and let's say they're one of the 2 finalists, they come in for a final interview. What's a legitimate question they can ask or how do they ask it about benefits or whatever else is in, the package like that?
And they can just keep it simple. What are you offering in terms of the benefits? What's my insurance package going to look like? Because they do want to know. I mean, they're going to have 90% of the time they're going to have at least some responsibility for the cost. So
Mm,
the employer always shares the burden of the cost with the employee when it comes to group health insurance, but it could be 50%. It could be that the employer's paying 75%, or maybe even they're paying
mm.
100%. So they factor those things in, and they want to know, how much is going to be coming out of my pay to cover my insurance to work here versus working there, and what else am I going to get around that as well.
Are we even talking about matching 401k contributions?
No, just for health insurance. Like if I want to offer group health insurance to my employees, I'm going to have to pay a minimum of 50% of their premium for each employee that enrolls. So that does push some employers out of, the offering. They're not going to be able to do that yet, if ever. Maybe they're too small. Maybe it's just not in the budget. But there are other things that those smaller businesses can do to still make themselves more attractive than the other business down the road that's doing pretty much the same thing, trying to hire the same person.
What kind of things do you see in that situation that they can offer?
For those folks, we'll do we have really solid dental plans we can offer for through a number of different insurance companies. They can offer the ancillary benefits, the Aflac type stuff, the cancer insurance, the disability, the accident. Employees do appreciate that, and even if they pay for it themselves, they're getting a group rate that they would not be able to get elsewhere. With the dental insurance, it's infinitely better to buy or to get a group dental policy through your employer than it would be to try and buy it directly through an insurance company.
And I would imagine if you have kids, but your future employer can't offer health insurance, dental and vision is not too bad to have for the kids, right?
No, it's definitely a good thing to have, especially some of these newer plans. Some of them will pay a couple $1,000s a year for any kind of work that needs to be done, and that's in addition to covering their regular cleanings and those sort of things.
Yeah. I find it again, the more I've watched and talked with folks now, because it truly is an employee market right now, just the things you can ask for or see if they have. And, hopefully they do, because we all have stuff we need to do, but it's nice that they can ask for that.
Yep.
I know you did this before at Allstate. So you've been at what, 25? You had about 25 years or so doing this?
Let's see. Not quite that long. I think it was, about 2005-ish
Okay.
when I started in the insurance biz.
There you go. In a previous job you had, you were a florist distributor.
Yeah, I worked for a wholesale florist in central Pennsylvania, and I did sales to the florists in Baltimore and Annapolis. So I would load up my refrigerated truck full of buckets of flowers and drive to Baltimore and Annapolis, and they would get on there and pick their favorite flowers and make their bouquets.
Oh man, tell me you had a kick-ass uniform.
It was shorts and work boots most days until it got cold.
Now you worked for the company was out of Philadelphia. Where were you living at the time?
That company was actually in a bustling metropolis called Washington Borough, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And I lived right across the river in Wrightsville, Pennsylvania, on the mighty Susquehanna.
And nice. Only you would throw that in. I like that. How far was the drive down to the DC area?
It depends on traffic. It's always a gamble. And to get to Baltimore, I would leave the shop by usually 5, maybe 6 a.m., which means you got to get there at 3:30 or 4 to get everything ready. Some days I could get there at 5 and sleep in.
Wait, did you make that drive every day?
Every day.
Oh,
Every day.
What
Yes,
time did
sir.
you get home at night?
Well, some days, things go smoothly and you get home by, 4, 3:30
Okay.
even. But then other days I wouldn't get back until 7, So there were some long days, especially Mother's Day week and Valentine's Day week. Got to sell those flowers.
How long did you do that job?
I lasted a couple years. I loved it. It was fun.
Really?
But, it was exhausting, but it was fun. And then I got into the pharmaceutical world after that.
Did your truck ever lose its refrigeration capabilities?
Oh God, yes. Yeah, there were several days, and it would lose its transportation abilities several times as well.
Geez.
Nothing like getting stuck on the interstate with a box full of flowers.
Yeah. So how many flowers could you carry?
Oh man.
How many dozens could you carry?
Yeah. So they would buy them by the dozen. So I had
Yeah.
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of flowers on there, and we had stuff from all over the world. They shipped some stuff in from Hawaii and other, tropical locations. And then we grew our own lilies, which was always cool because they were highly sought after among the florists who knew about them.
Do you still have a green thumb at the home today?
I do. I like to plant outdoor flowers. So,
Okay.
and those sorts of things. And I like to do peppers and tomatoes and stuff in the summer as well.
There you go. Uh,
Indoor plants, it's a different story.
what do you recommend we plant for the fall and the winter in this part of the country?
Oh, well, now's a good time to plant your perennials. So get them in the ground now, and then they'll pop up next spring. Just make sure you label them so you don't actually accidentally dig them up.
Wait, you got to label them?
You got to put something in there because they're going to go dormant. You want to know where they are.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm. I'm not that thing. I'm making myself sound much fancier than I am.
No, hey, I'm a believer, man. You know that. Did you know anything about flowers before you took this job?
Not a damn thing. No, sir. Nope.
It just paid well, and you didn't have to drive your own car, right?
Yeah, I studied my flowers. I had to know what they were, and thankfully there was a guy that was moving to a different state, but I think he had at least 2 weeks. So I rode with him, and he was showing me every flower, and he was really funny, and he would quiz me on flowers, and he had his own name for flowers too. If he couldn't remember the name of it, he would just create one on the spot, and so I definitely continued that tradition.
Did you just cold call businesses in your truck?
No, I had a number of accounts that were already set up when I took it over, so it was pretty successful. And the guy that was there before me had good sales, but I was very pleased the first time I broke his sales records because everybody liked him a lot.
Yeah.
And so I kept doing better year after year there, and could have done it forever, but I would be even more tired than I am now.
Yeah. Yeah. What kind of revenue goals does a floral distributor have?
So that was a long time ago. I don't remember what their goals were specifically as, overall, because they had inside salespeople there that would just ship stuff to other places across Pennsylvania and Maryland.
But what was your goal, though?
My goal was just to beat the last guy, have better sales, be better than him. So if he did,
okay.
If he sold $50,000 in flowers, my God, I wanted to do 55.
There you go. Was there a popular choice no matter where you went?
It was always I had a really good selection of tropicals. So there was one place in Annapolis. She was always very excited to see what was in there, the more unusual things.
Did you give tours of your truck?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I would help them up in there and have a little ladder. They walked right in and asked me what that was, and I would make up a name, and they would say they want 5 of them, and I'm like, all right, let's go.
How big was this truck then?
It's like it was bigger than a U-Haul. So it was like I think it was in a Suzu NPR. That's what was the truck.
Oh, that had to have been fun on the road, huh?
Oh yeah. 4 cylinders, I believe, if I recall.
And
5-speed.
The captain, the chair doesn't lean back, so you're sitting up straight all day long, uncomfortable, and yeah.
Yep.
Did it at least have FM radio?
Oh, it did. It had FM and AM.
Oh, there you go. Quality employer. And what benefits did you get from that employee?
0.
Which got you to thinking there's got to be a better way than this, right? So Philadelphia. All right. So how'd you get from UNC Charlotte to the Philadelphia area?
I'd always wanted to move up there just to live in a bigger city for a while.
Why?
And,
dude, it snows up there.
I know. I enjoyed the snow. It was fun. It didn't bother me. I will tell you, I don't miss shoveling snow now. I much prefer driving 5 minutes to the beach. That's definitely a more pleasurable experience for me. But and I didn't get to Philadelphia until I got out of the floral industry and I got into the pharmaceutical industry, and then they moved me closer to Philadelphia and spent some years out there.
All right, so hang on a sec. So before we end this show today, we can get tips on flowers, pharmaceutical drugs, and employee benefits?
That's correct, sir.
Boy, where do I start? I know where I'm going to start with this. So pharmaceutical sales, how hard was that?
It was definitely hard starting out because I didn't have a huge chemistry background, and not the smartest tack in the box, but I did make it through all the training, and I learned my products pretty well. I got embarrassed by a doctor a couple times because he asked me to describe the mechanism of the molecule and how it affects this and that and the other, and I'm like, the what now?
Yeah.
they just told me to tell you it was good.
Hold on, I got a guy. Let me get him on the phone for you.
But yeah, I dug in and learned all that stuff and really got to understand the way things work and
Ooh.
made a lot of friends. You know,
Oh, yeah.
you know, the trick there is, you know, you befriend the people at the front desk, which I
Mhm.
didn't mind doing anyway.
Yeah.
And if they like you, then before you know it, you're coming in the back door instead of waiting out front.
Yep.
So
And what kind of, shall we call them, leave behinds did you have to leave to get in good with the gatekeepers?
well, donuts were always good, you
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
And there was a deli up there called Isaac's in Philadelphia, and they had these pretzel bread sandwiches. They were
Hmm.
always a big hit.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So that's always good.
And so they gave you an entertainment budget?
They did. Yeah,
All right.
yeah. We had a food budget. I would buy lunch or maybe buy breakfast. I think I was the guy that would get there before everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, so if they're opening the doors at 6:30, here I am with bagels because you know I'm used to getting up at 3:30. I could be there at 6:30.
That's sleeping in, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
A lot of competitors in that world?
Oh yeah, yeah. In fact, when I did it, it was swinging to the really heavy part. Like they were constantly getting bombarded with
Yeah.
new people in suits coming to throw up their data at them. So
I
it
just
was
always
challenging.
imagine that being a female-dominated sales industry, right?
There were a lot of very successful women in that industry. Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
Were most of the drugs kind of the same?
Well, I remember I had one that had a lot of data showing that it prevented recurrence or prevented the first heart disease. You know, so
Mm.
that they did have a very unique study with thousands and thousands of patients. So
Uh,
it seemed very legit, and it worked. So you know,
and those legitimate cold calling sales jobs will ground you quickly and develop your rough exterior, won't they?
yes, sir, and your sarcasm.
What do you have any good turnaway lines anybody said, like, "Don't even come in here," or "You're lying," or anything like that?
I don't think so because I always tried to be honest about it, you know,
Yeah.
and I was just being myself. So you
Yep.
know, extraordinarily likable.
Well, and you gotta just let me just point out the elephant in the room. I'm a sales guy with drugs here to sell you these drugs, and then let's just get it out. I'm a fan of that because they know why you're there. May as well acknowledge it.
Yep.
But you're right though, for the folks that do that for a living and they're very good at it, the whole goal there was to get past the gatekeeper.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, once you're in good there, you're
Yeah.
usually good to go.
Because what I've learned, and I don't know if on pharmaceutical sales, but when my brother and I had our commercial cleaning company and we're calling on medical offices, if I convince the office administrator is usually the titles I was looking for. If I convince them, then the doctor would go, yeah, just whatever she wants us to do. So you're
Yep.
right. I mean, it's huge. And people think, well, I got to convince a doctor. Like, nah, dude, you're not going to see the doctor for a while.
Right.
But yeah, donuts and bagels work a whole lot.
They do.
So one of the things I know about you is a huge music fan. And I don't know if it'll show up, but is your right forearm available to show that tattoo? You have, yeah, there you go. All right, you want to, all right, so hold that up for a quick second. All
Hmm.
right, so if you can explain that to the folks that don't know what that is.
That is not a fidget spinner.
I thought I glanced at it first time I saw it, like a fidget spinner. Why is that on there? He looked, I won't tell you what John said to me, but he said something. Yeah. So,
That is the insert that goes into the spindle on a record player to play a 45.
and
Singers.
for those that are, let's say, younger than 40, explain to them what a 45 is.
45 was the one song that they released to promote their music, and it had a B-side, which was usually not on the album. So
Yes. Yep.
typically 2, maybe 3 songs on the 45, and it's called a 45 because it revolves at 45 revolutions per minute instead of the standard 33 1/3.
Which is an album.
Yep.
In the 45s, and you had to have those. You could not play a 45 without that insert.
Yeah, at least most of them. Some of them had the small hole, but many of them had the larger one.
Yeah,
You had to have
because
the
we
converter
tried a
for it.
couple times and it didn't go well. But
No.
the first 45 you bought was what?
I was because I still have them,
Oh
all of
yeah.
them,
Oh yeah.
and it was either, and don't judge me, it was either "Come On Eileen" by
Yep.
Dexy's Midnight Runners or "Sunglasses at Night" by Corey Hart. I can't remember which.
All right, so I'm going to defend "Come On Eileen." That is the greatest one-hit wonder. I've got a list. I've got a playlist on Spotify of one-hit wonders, and I tell my family all the time that is the greatest one-hit wonder ever. So I'm
Huh,
with you on that.
they're up there.
Yep, and I've told stories here for folks who live in Raleigh, our big mall, or it was at the time Crabtree Mall, and
Hmm.
upstairs they had a Sam Goodies. And
Yeah.
we'd go in there and just flip album covers and look, and of course, then we'd go down a little bit further into the mall and go into Spencer's Gifts and see what racy posters they had up there, but that's, again, a whole nother show.
Uh-huh.
But those Sam Goodies, man, you just walk in, start looking at albums, but that's how you got music the other day. There were no downloads, right?
Nope. Nope, sir.
And you were probably a member of Columbia Records, get 9 albums for a penny, and then they kill you when you forget to cancel or don't read the fine print.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I did that a couple times.
And the first shipment was crazy. Like, man, I got these 9 albums for $1, and like, or
Hmm.
for a penny sometimes, whatever it was. Oh,
Yep.
Amnon's got some right down here. That's hilarious. Yeah. Oh yeah. And vinyl's coming back.
It is. Yeah, especially among the independent bands.
Yeah. Are you getting back to? Have you bought any lately?
Yeah, I bought one a couple weeks ago when I went to see a band live here in town. They had some vinyl
All
to
right.
sell after their show.
My research team has informed me that you have a very eclectic taste in music.
That's correct.
Yeah. So on your playlist, if you're going out for a run or a walk, what kind of different bands are we going to hear on that?
Oh man, I don't know. You're gonna hear everything from like the Beatles to Biggie, Olivia Newton-John.
Who did
It's
now you've been to probably a lot of shows. I was going to say hundreds of live shows. You may have been close to that, but did you see anybody early on after the show you're like, "Oh, they're going to be good," or once they made it big, "Ooh, I saw them before they were X."
yeah. Let's see. One of those was Smashing Pumpkins. You might have heard of them.
I have.
Had one or two hits. I saw them in a little club in Chapel Hill.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Hmm.
Okay.
My friends went to see a show, and for whatever, I just didn't feel like going that night. I wasn't feeling it, and I was like, they're good and everything, but I don't know if I want to see them live. And it was this little band called Nirvana.
Nice call.
Yeah,
Where were they playing?
they played at the Milestone in Charlotte, I believe, which is like the size of a small house.
Okay.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hmm.
You have played, I know you do jam sessions, but when's the last time you played live anywhere?
Been a while. The pandemic put the brakes on the last iteration of a band that we tried to put together, but we did manage to record 6 or 7 songs that we wrote, and we probably got them about 90% finished before the pandemic, and they've remained 90% finished. But prior to that, I was in another band with some friends, and we played at this little place in Wilmington called the Rusty Nail, and we would play there every Wednesday.
The Rusty Nail.
Yes, it's as glamorous as it sounds.
And what did we make every week at the Rusty Nail, John?
Sometimes we might get a free beer, but other than that, we just tried not to make the audience leave.
Did we do cover band or do we do our own stuff?
That was mostly covers. We had a few that we wrote, but
Right.
we mostly did covers, and we tried to keep it bluesy because Rusty Nail is internationally renowned blues club.
Okay.
Mhm.
Did we have our own groupies
Um,
or
thankfully, no.
or
No, I don't think so.
groupie? Maybe just
Groupie.
one.
No, I don't think so. I think there was a girl that was hot for the drummer one time, but
Yeah.
I think she was just really drunk.
Okay. Fair enough. And he would admit that too, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The biggest house you played in was how big?
Never played a huge venue. We played. I was in a band in Wilmington years ago called the Monkey Junction Band, and we played the Azalea Festival one year, which is a big deal in Wilmington.
All right.
So,
About how many
uh,
people?
well, there were thousands of people at the Azalea Festival, but I feel like there was probably only 20 in front of the stage when we were playing,
Okay.
if we're being honest.
Which means probably 100, right? Right. I
Right.
mean, you're one of those low key guys. Golly shucks, I'm not any good. So I've known you just long enough to know that that's probably not close. That's sometimes we talk about, hey, if you weren't doing what you're doing now, what would you want to do? And front man for a band would be awesome because, of course, what we think about are the Garth Brooks level where you're playing, or George Strait. I'm going to go country music for a minute, where you're playing a sold out Jerry's World in Dallas, and you've got 90,000 people there, which very few get to that. But I can imagine when your fans are singing your song back to you, man, that's got to be a huge rush. But even for you guys playing on a stage where there's 20 people or 100 people playing live music, that's got to be a big rush for you.
Oh yeah, as long as they're enjoying it, and we've had the opportunity to do that a few times, and it always felt good.
Would you consider yourself a singer-songwriter?
Songwriter-ish. Let's see, reluctant singer. I have been the singer in several bands.
I guess my first question to you about 20 minutes ago is, John, do you do anything well? Should we go back to
I do many things poorly.
Okay. All right. But at least you're versatile. Okay. I like that. What instrument do you play?
Guitar.
And who
Yep.
taught you?
Well, me mostly, but my friend, so singing again, my friend had a band in high school and their singer was leaving and they were like, why don't you come sing? You like all the music we do. I'm like, I can't sing. I don't know how to sing. So I did it and I sang and I'm like, I hate singing. Can I at least play guitar? And he showed me a few bar chords,
Okay.
To his ever-loving credit. And then I just took it from there and eventually learned how to become a passable guitar player.
When you were singing, could you confirm if they even turned your microphone on?
I did because I could hear it in the, in the speakers. And to this day, I hate the sound of my own voice.
Okay. Do you watch any of the, American Idol or any of those type singing shows?
I don't go seek them out, but if it's on,
Yeah.
if the TV's on and it comes on and somebody's good is on, I won't turn it off. But,
Now, all right. So with limited talent that you say you've been in the music world for a while. Can you tell pretty quick when somebody can sing?
oh yeah, yep, yeah, I think so. But the artists that I've always liked, I never really cared whether they could sing well, because I mean there are people who are physically gifted when it comes to their voice box,
Oh yeah.
and others who can just write great songs and carry a tune. But to answer your question, yeah, when somebody can really sing, yeah.
And I agree with you about the song is so important because if you look at it, and I don't want to piss anybody off here, but Frank Sinatra and Madonna weren't A-level singing talents, but they got the right songs that fit what they could do, and they both became just megastars.
Yep. Bob Dylan.
Oh, you know what? I'm not a big Dylan fan, but you're right. And boy, could talk about writing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, you're right. There's sometimes because Becky and I used to watch American Idol. She likes the voice, and I watch it because I like to hear them kind of bicker with each other, and they have a lot of fun. But you can tell real quick. And then sometimes there's like three people have turned around, and the fourth hasn't turned around. It's like, what are you waiting for? This person can sing.
Right? You're missing out, dude.
Well, that's what you ought to have is a Wilmington version of that as a fundraiser.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, where people just, you go through, anybody can apply to do that. You got to hear them and you whittle it down to 20 and they come out and everybody sings, 2 minutes
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. But I bet there'd be a lot of people that would show up to do that.
I know some people in town that have really good pipes too, so
Yeah.
I'm not one of them, but
I
know
was
who they
gonna,
are.
we know that by now, and I was gonna say that. So, do you have a go-to karaoke song?
Well, I did, but it's become socially inappropriate, I think, because it was remixed to Ignition by R. Kelly
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah.
prior
Okay.
to all of this bad stuff coming out.
All right, if you had to sing a song that was approved by the world, what would it be?
Good question. Hmm. You might have stumped me there,
All right.
but I
Uh,
think we would definitely go old school.
all right, that's cool. You're stuck on a desert island and you get one genre of music. What do you pick?
I'd probably go classic rock still. Even though I listen to a lot of new stuff,
Now,
those
yeah,
they've stood the test of time.
it did, yeah. And I'm torn between country. I'm an '80s guy. The new country I don't like that much because it sounds too much like pop. I go back to the older country, and not older, but just a few years ago.
Hmm.
But the '80s, man, the early '80s. Oh God, there's so many good bad songs
No
that you
doubt.
get that tune in your head, and you're like, I love this music.
Uh huh.
Now, my crack research team also tells me that you have trouble deciding what NFL jersey to wear depending on what event you're going to.
That is correct. Yes. Sometimes I do have a little difficulty deciding.
Understand your family are big Panther fans.
Huge.
Okay.
Yep.
But you're not so much, right?
No, I like the Panthers.
Okay.
They're I grew up in Charlotte,
Yeah.
but I was leaving by the time they were getting going, and
Yeah.
spent a lot of years up there in the Philadelphia area. So I'm
Mhm.
definitely an Eagles fan.
Yeah. Okay. But only when they're good.
Well, it's making it very easy to be an Eagles fan this year. I've
Yes.
been following them for years, but
Yes.
I will admit, don't tell my brother I watched the Panthers. I watched the Eagles yesterday instead of the Panthers, and
I
they
will
were on at
not.
the same time.
Nobody. It just mean you talking. Nobody's going to hear it, so don't worry about that. I too go back to the Randall Cunningham um, days. Oh, who was the tight end? Carmichael, Harold Carmichael.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
love those teams, man. Those two were fun to watch. So, all right. One more tip before we go. One good tip for an employer. What should you think about offering to employees that may not break your bank?
At the very minimum, you got to do the dental and the vision and give them access to things like disability.
Uh,
And I don't personally do it, but I have referral partners that do the retirement plan
yeah,
because they don't always understand it right away. But when you tell them that they're doubling their money by just putting $1 in,
yeah.
now it's $2. Sometimes it clicks, and that is there's no replacing the time value of money there either.
Yeah, disability, we just don't want to talk about, do we?
Yeah, I mean, but unfortunately we see a lot of those claims,
Yeah.
and and honestly, most of the plans that I do for disability, they include maternity benefits, and a lot of small businesses don't offer any kind of
Ooh.
maternity. So,
And you know what? That's a big deal. That's
it
now
is.
it's because I think most of the world knows that I got a new granddaughter a few weeks ago. By the way,
That's
just
right.
shy of 7 weeks, she rolled over. Has to be a record. No baby has ever done that early before. That's the story I'm sticking to. But my son got paternity leave, which I think and that was unheard of back in the day that, wait, you're the dad.
Yeah.
A, what good are you to a new baby?
Hmm.
Or B, like you did any of the hard work, right? But
Right.
that's a big deal to families, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, these the companies that don't have the ability to offer anything like that, then the parents, or at least one of them, is not receiving an income for weeks.
Yeah.
And
If I have an employee that I've approved to work from home, either full time or half time, are there any different benefits that go to somebody working from home versus in the office?
now we treat them exactly the same. Yeah,
Okay.
it doesn't matter as long as they're a W-2 employee and they're eligible, then we can insure anyone in any state, regardless of whether they come into an office or they're staying in their home office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those little things matter because I mean, we see the employment numbers, we see the job opening numbers, and man, there's jobs out there to be had. And you're in a competitive world. Maybe that you've never been in it, which is probably why, as you've talked to many employers, John, we just can't find the right people.
Right. That's exactly right. I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
All right. So if you're in the Wilmington area, Thursday morning, Angus Grill, 8 a.m., you will be entertained. I promise you that. And if you need a very average guitar player and singer, John Moore can be hired and he needs minimal benefits. Now, his benefits go on to the what can I eat and drink during the show side, but minimal benefits he could be had, right, John?
I think that's That's exactly right.
I mean, for the right deal. But what band doesn't need just a very average guitar player and singer?
Exactly.
One instrument you'd love to learn to play, but probably don't have the time to do it.
Saxophone.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to be better at piano as well, but I could never get the hang of saxophone. It always sounded like, I don't even know if geese can get rabies, but that
Yeah.
sound, it would make that kind of sound.
You know somebody was hurting the first time you blew into saxophone, right? Piano, are you decent at it? If somebody had a piano at their house, get on there and play a couple songs?
I can play by ear, but I
Yeah.
can't get on there and play Rachmaninoff or anything. I can just do more of an accompaniment kind of thing.
There you
So,
go. Hey, man, we
yeah.
all got to have our party tricks.
There you go.
Yep. So anyways, John, thanks for coming on short notice. Appreciate
pleasure.
that.
I apologize for the
Oh, don't worry about it.
extraordinarily bright lights, but this is the closest Wi-Fi I could get to say hello to you this
No,
morning.
I appreciate you doing that. And music, man, more people could have lengthy conversations. Well, let me back up. Music and food are the two international languages. Because sometimes I'm my age, I'm a big Camila Cabello fan.
Okay.
Love that sound, right? And so compare them with Dexy's Midnight Runners, talk about an eclectic, right? So, but I think people, no matter what part of the world they live in, however they voted these days, which also is a big issue on, I can't talk to him, he voted that way, right?
Right.
We could talk music all day long about first concert. Oh, by the way, first concert you ever went to?
I think it was Robert Plant.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, and I believe White Lion opened for them. 80s band.
Wow. Wow. You may be the only one that would bring that up when somebody ever said first concert you saw. Was that in Charlotte?
Yeah, and I was always a huge Led Zeppelin fan, so had to go take the opportunity to see Robert Plant.
Yeah, I bet that was good, man. I bet that
It
was
was.
good. So,
Yeah, it was a good one.
anyways, folks, we've been putting John's phone number up here. If you have any questions, he will answer. He'll help you. He'll guide you in the right direction. That much I know. Now, your website is southeasternbenefits.net.
That's
And
the
it's
one.
important to put up .net there because you couldn't buy out .com. Somebody bigger probably had that, right?
Yeah, they wouldn't let it go.
$11.78 wasn't enough to swap.
Nope. They drove a hard bargain.
Hey, a business has to run on a budget, man. So
That's
go
right.
to southeasternbenefits.net, check out the products and services they have to offer, or give John a call. He'll be able to help you. John, very much enjoyed the time. Thanks for the short notice. And
My
if you'll hang on for a minute after we go to the close here, want to chat some more, but we've enjoyed it, and we'll see everybody next time on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.